PlayStation event, though, Dom, what exactly you want to talk about it, right?
Yeah, and we've hit on this a lot in previous months, but specifically this event and what we think it means about the Neo. So like I already mentioned, I think this means that the Neo is going to get released this October, like it was originally rumored. The more and more I thought about it, after E3, the whole, Microsoft announcing Scorpio and everyone, we all kind of speculated that maybe Sony was planning on showing Neo there, and then they pulled out, and that they were going back to the drawing board, and they weren't going to release Neo till next year, and all this and that.
Yeah.
Now, the more I think about it, that's really unrealistic this far into whatever it is they're doing. Because not only, companies this big are really bureaucratic, and there are quick decisions that can happen on a day that are really big, but for the most part, things take a while to process, especially considering the implications that this would have for developers who already have dev kits of the Neo and who will...
Apparently they don't, though.
Exactly. So that's the other part that makes this interesting, because the other piece of that rumor was that final dev kits will be sent out this month or next month.
Yeah.
Which, makes you wonder, so were the previous dev kits not as powerful, or what's the difference? That's another point. But.
It also could be do they mean public dev kits in the sense of Joe Schmo developers can get it as opposed to their first parties or their really close to third parties, That's another thing, because to what extent is releasing the dev kit? We don't know that. That could just be a marketing spin, So we don't think that they're releasing it soon. You never know. So
yeah. So
another thing is when we were getting some of those leaks about they were having the focus groups about Neo. They were asking people, should we do it with a cheaper price and a lower upgraded GPU, or should we do a higher price with better GPU? So the whole going back to the drawing board thing, it does kind of sound ridiculous, but they were asking people, so who knows?
Yeah.
So, my point was going to be that, devs have already been working on, presumably, putting in patches for games for Neo mode, right? And if they change things...
They could just be working on PCs.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thought, I guess. But so what I really wanted to turn this into, though, is I'm coming around on what I think the Neo is supposed to be and how they're going to market it. I think they're going to point this directly at the Xbox One S. And it can reasonably come out at a price point similar to that. I could see this thing being $400, and it's meant it will bring significant changes to people who only have 1080p TVs too, right?
Yeah.
Because especially I'm not a developer and I'm not an expert on this, but my experience playing PC games, if you change your hardware configuration, you just put in a different graphics card and leave everything else, all the other settings in a game the same, then the frame rate will automatically go up. Because that's it. You don't have to change it unless the game has a locked frame rate. Then it just...
Because you got a faster horse, but you didn't change the horse's resolution.
Exactly. So I forget what the term is for everything else stays the same. But yeah, if you just change that one variable, that GPU, then your performance just increases automatically. There's no development time involved in that. Or if you do have that locked frame rate, then any drops will automatically be gone. Fallout 4, for example, which ran like shit on consoles, always dropping down to 10, 15 frames a second, would be remedied. So on top of that, I just think that they're going to point this at the One S. It's going to have that 4K Blu-ray drive, and price point will be similar. And I don't know that they're going to give it a different name. This could just be PlayStation 4 Slim. They might literally call it something along those lines, right?
So you said they were going to put it up against the Xbox One S.
Yeah, this isn't aimed, not directly obviously, but he's saying this isn't aimed to compete with the Scorpio. This is aimed to compete with the S.
So,
and on the same note,
I guess
if you did have,
if they put it up head to head with S, and then it's obviously going to win out over S because it'll be a higher upgrade. But then Scorpio will win out over Neo. It's like a leapfrogging type thing.
So that's why it's so interesting because if the price point is $400, then it's not really more expensive than the S, but you're getting a lot more for it. And Microsoft would probably adjust their prices accordingly if that were to happen. I would assume. I don't know, but you're right. So having with Scorpio planned, late 2017 or whatever it is, I think that it's both good and bad that they'd be getting the jump on Microsoft releasing this now. Because, anyone who's looking for something now is going to buy this thing. And it's going to hurt Xbox One S sales significantly, I think. There are going to be some people who look into enough things and know that Scorpio is coming out, and they're not going to buy anything until then. But that's so far away that, like, I would not plan my purchases like that, I guess. Like, oh, you know what? I'm going to buy that thing a year and a half from today. I'm planning on, like, if there's something out now, like, I'm going to buy it. Otherwise, you get stuck in that trap that every PC gamer knows of. Oh, I really want to buy this CPU, but the next one is supposed to get released in a couple months. Should I wait? Like,
so you'd waiting, and then
you're always waiting. Exactly. There's always going to be something new. So you kind of just got to take that dive. But
yeah.
So a lot of things at play with Neo and Scorpio. I'm just really excited to see like what this all means.
So you really think it's coming out this year?
I'm like without a doubt.
Alongside VR.
I think so too. My point to that is I think this is the companion for VR. VR seems to be their baby, and PlayStation's protecting it with all their heart, and they want it to be successful. So I think they're thinking, we'll release this console. We'll basically put it in a way of marketing that you don't need to upgrade, but we'll find a package for PSVR. This will be the PlayStation that gets packaged with PSVR, not the original PS4.
So they talked about if you did have a 4K TV, then the Neo would. Some games it could run natively at 4K, some of the smaller games, but then everything else, people are saying, well, the specs aren't enough. Well, I mean, according to a lot of that leaked information, that Sony's found a lot of tricky ways to kind of run it at 1440p, which is a midpoint between 1080 and 4K, and then kind of upscale from there and do things like that aren't that difficult. So you'd still see good advantages there. But Jared, I think you're absolutely right that this is huge for VR. Because while they did say that every Neo game would also work on the PS4, they've not mentioned anything like that about VR. So I think there's a good chance we see Neo exclusive VR games and then regular PS4 VR games. Yeah. I think there's a real possibility of that.
Huh. So, I was just about to say...
Would not be good, though.
People were talking about how VR wasn't running super, super well on PlayStation 4. But that they had fixed it and that they were getting it. It was working a lot better on a lot of the demos. But I'm still hearing a lot of anecdotal evidence that PSVR demos don't look so great, and they may run perfectly fine, but they've got some soft edges or some edges that don't look great, and so I'm thinking they're going to be like, all right, here's PlayStation 4K, here's PlayStation VR that you already know about, and they're going to show all their demos from now on PlayStation 4K. They're going to make sure that they push anybody that's looking at getting a PSVR at getting a PS4K, because they want, when people think of PSVR, they want people to think about
better experience,
a better 4K experience, even though it is, this thing on your face that doesn't actually have a 4K screen. It's going to run a lot better, and I think that's what Sony really wants you to connect those two together. So maybe it coming out at the same time is a really good idea.
A couple of things with the actual event that are like things that I think are possible outside of Neo.
Vita 2.
Huh? Well, there's actually those rumors that are kind of like already disproven about the Vita Trinity. I don't know if you guys saw that on NeoGAF.
The Vita Trinity?
Yes, there was these not trademark. What's the term I'm looking for when it's like specs of patent. There you go. There was patented stuff for this PlayStation thing. A lot of people think it's actually for the PlayStation, the PS4K or PS4 Slim, but a lot of people actually think it's for the Vita Trinity. So that's
every time you say it, sounds
that's a whole other thing. The real thing is, I wonder if they're gonna do their Scorpio announcement where this is the PS4K and then this is Project whatever the heck. But now, I said that before we started the show, but now that I'm thinking about it, that might be the thing that they hold for PSX. That might be the thing that they hold to announce to their hardcore fans,
Oh, I don't know, man. They need to get the Vita. If they're doing a sequel to the Vita,
Trinity.
They need to
shout
it to the world.
Sorry, I'm talking about the Project Scorpio competitor. That is a thing that I think they'll hold to PSX.
So you don't even think that Neo
There's no way it can compete
anywhere close to Scorpio.
If the rumored specs are true, there's no way it can compete with Scorpio. There's no way. Just looking at the power, there's no way.
But I want my Vita Trinity. Yeah. What is that? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, any closing thoughts on the PlayStation event and what do you guys expect? And we'll probably talk about this again before
September
7th.
We're little mini prediction spot here. The Vita Trinity will be revealed. The PlayStation Vita Trinity is essentially. Have you ever seen one of those goofy ass pictures of a controller that has like 100 buttons on it instead of just like the regular 20?
Yeah, the Nintendo prototypes.
That's the Vita Trinity, and it has 18 back touch pads that you have to grow extra fingers for. And whenever you say the word Vita Trinity, it's
also Dreams is exclusive to the PS Trinity, the Vita Trinity.
Oh my gosh, I want Dreams on my Trinity right the fuck now.